City News is brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers, Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation. Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News, Tapuia CEO Tim Cossa says interest in the new whānau card has been high. 3D chalk art is created in the city focus, and basketball teams representing iwi from throughout New Zealand will be converging on Rotorua over Waitangi weekend. Locals are steadily signing up for the whānau card being offered by Tapuia. The card allows locals free access to the geothermal park for 2014. CEO Tim Cossa says so far this year there's been significant interest in the cards.
We've always had a thing called a whānau card, which has been I guess an encouragement or a low-cost encouragement for locals to visit Tapuia and New Zealand Māori Arts and Crafts Institute. This year we're doing that free of charge, so as part of our 50th year celebration. So for locals who wish to apply for a card, they can come up here, and that gives them a year's free entry for 2 adults and up to 3 children, free for a year to come in on site and look at what's going on. The thing for us is obviously we attract a lot of visitors who come visit us once, and internationals who may have come to New Zealand once. But we want to show locals what we're doing, what we're up to, how things are changing, how things are moving on. And this is a really good way of engaging. So we've had a lot of interest from a lot of people.
And visitors to Rotorua International Airport have been greeted in recent weeks by murals painted by students from local primary schools. The murals are part of a community art project encouraging community ownership of the airport. RDC Community Arts Officer Mark Spijkerbosch says he's proud of the work done by the students.
Well, my first day as arts officer, I was approached by the then CE Peter Gurin. Mark, can we please do something about our airport? It looks like a barn. So that planted the seed, and I guess I want to do something about the barn as well, because they laugh at us in Queenstown, they call it the barn. So now we've got some soul, I think, we've got the stories of our kids being told, we've got vibrancy, we've got colour and ownership, I think, yeah.
And art featured in City Focus yesterday when students and staff from Wairiki created 3D chalk art. Wairiki art tutor Cherie Taylor says the aim of the project was to allow the artists a public creative outlet as well as being a creative buzz for the city.
The idea is to create a 3D illusion so that when you're standing at a particular angle, it will actually look like there is a hole and a bridge crossing over this broken hole in the pavement. So if you're standing at any other angle around the drawing, it won't make visual sense until you stand back on our magic spot behind our vanishing points, and then it should come into play and you'll be able to see what it is.
In sport tonight, basketball teams representing iwi from throughout New Zealand will be converging on Rotorua over Waitangi weekend for the inaugural Māori basketball tournament. President of the Rotorua Basketball Association, Daryl Pene, says the tournament will offer age group sections from under 11 to under 21 and men's, women's and mixed. He says teams from throughout New Zealand are coming for the event.
It's being run under the National Executive for the first time, and we hope to host this year and possibly next year. We're based it around Waitangi weekend.
Yeah. And are all the teams coming from around New Zealand, and how many teams are there?
We've got 44 teams confirmed. From as far south as Porirua, that's the Ngāti Toa tribe down there, Taranaki. We've got to the east coast, we've got Ngāti Porou, Te Arawa here, Waikato, and the furthest team up north is Kaitaia.
And for more information about the tournament, you can go online to Rotorua Basketball, one word, that's rotoruabasketball.org.nz. To your weather update, Rotorua. Tonight, showers, westerlies developing, an overnight low of 10. For tomorrow, Tuesday, becoming fine, southerly breezes, a high of 24 and a low of 10. And the outlook forward to Wednesday, fine weather again, which is good news. Light winds, a nice warm high of 24 and a low of 10. To the marine weather for tomorrow, Tuesday, becoming southerly 10 knots and showers easing. Coming up after the break, we talk law and order with Inspector Ed Vandenbroek. Alexis Fagor has news about the Multicultural Society's Chinese Festival on in the City Focus later this week. And Alan Solomon talks with Bay of Plenty golf selector Craig Tiriana.
catching up with Inspector Ed Vanderbroek today, and we've got some good news and bad news for the viewers at home, but we'll get to the good news in a minute. Bad news first, Ed. Nice to see you again. Some ratbags in town causing a bit of strife.
Yes, unfortunately we've had a few incidents involving young people where they've been fighting amongst each other in the CBD over the last couple of weeks. Pretty disappointing, you know, but we need to put things in perspective. 99% of our kids that come into town are really good kids, and they're polite to everybody, but there's only a handful that cause this sort of problems. And you know, if we just make sure that we ask the members of the public to report any sort of suspicious activity. If they see a fight's about to break out, we can come into town and take care of it.
Now, you just mentioned fights. Was that the bulk of what they were doing?
Yeah, disorderly behaviour, fighting amongst each other. Yeah, just settling silly disputes. You know, who knows what some of these kids fight about, but it's not something we want in our CBD.
Was there alcohol involved?
No, generally not, but there are synthetic drugs involved most of the time, and we certainly from the police like to see the synthetic drugs not being sold in Rotorua. That's out of my hands, unfortunately, and it's up to the community to take that action, but that's what we're finding is quite often involved in these sorts of incidents.
Let's go down that track a little bit. Ed, last year we caught up many times, talked about the synthetic drugs and the new bylaws that came in and the national laws and all that sort of stuff. So has that sort of stuff, has it helped?
Well, we've seen only a small number of outlets being able to sell in Rotorua now, which is a good thing. And there are certain strict conditions on the sale of these sorts of products. And but you know, it's still available for adults to buy, or over 18-year-olds, and we don't. What we're seeing is quite often they're supplied back to the young people, and we don't want to see that sort of thing from occurring. You know.
What's the sort of repercussions if there's an adult buying those sorts of things for people underage?
Yeah, sure. They can be charged for supplying a minor under the smoke-free legislation. But you know, we want to see the sale of that sort of product stopped altogether in Rotorua. That would be the best outcome for our town.
Yeah. Now these kids, obviously when they're in town and causing this sort of trouble, have you sort of knocked it on the head now?
Well, I'd like to say yes, and if I say yes, I'll probably see a big fight as soon as we finish this interview. But look, we're keeping a pretty close eye on things. We have a lot of staff working in the CBD, walking beat patrol, and they're deterring a lot of these incidents from happening. So we're certainly doing our best to stop this from happening, and I know the community's not so happy about this sort of stuff happening either. And in fact, there's a couple of incidents that we've dealt with where we've seen a couple of elderly ladies try and intervene and stop the fighting, which shows you the community feeling about this sort of stuff happening.
Go to Baker.
Absolutely.
Now are these kids school age? Is it bored? Do they need to get back to school?
School age kids, yeah, absolutely. You know, we'd like to see them go back to school. In a couple of weeks' time, we'll start seeing that happening again, so it'll be a good thing for the CBD. But as I see, you know, majority of kids are really good, you know, and take away a handful of kids, probably stop all this nonsense from happening.
Cool. Okay, we'll shift our focus to the good news now. Over the New Year's, obviously, we had the Glow Festival, and no trouble there for you and the new staff?
No, it was brilliant, you know, and the council put on a really good event. It was well managed, and it was a good family atmosphere. There was hardly any trouble for us, a handful of arrests. It was a really good night, and again, full credit to the council because they really organised a top night.
Now, we've got a couple of weeks left into the school holidays over, and we're still in holiday mode. Any final messages for our viewers back home about safety on the roads and things like that?
Yeah, we certainly we're still seeing a lot of holiday makers on the road, so stick to the speed limits, don't drink and drive, you know, all those general sort of messages. Put on your seatbelts. You know, seatbelt saves lives. And, you know, just general safety messages around making sure your home's secure and, making sure you lock your doors and close your windows if you go out, and that deters people from breaking into your house, obviously.
Is the 4Ks over the speed limit, is that threshold still invoked? Is that still going?
That's right, yeah, absolutely. And we'd like to see it applied year-round, personally. You know, it's speed kills. It's a simple physics calculation. You know, the higher the speed, the bigger the impact, the less chance you have of survival. So let's make 104 or 100 kilometres an hour speed limits obviously in place. 104 is the tolerance all the time.
Cool. Now, Ragamuffins only a couple of weeks around the corner. Now, I know it's a busy day for you guys, so what sort of things do you guys do when you're down there? Obviously, you're policing the people, make sure they're safe and, keeping, the rat bags at bay and things like that. So, another big day for you guys?
It is a reasonably big day. We spend a bit of time with the security staff at the entry points because it's a Friday night event and then a Saturday day event or into evening event. And we are there to assist the security guards. So if they find anything illegal like drugs or weapons, they'll approach us and we'll deal with the people. Quite often they'll be trespassed from the events and they will have wasted their money on tickets. So if people are looking at going in there, make sure you don't bring anything illegal into the stadium, and don't expect to drink too much because Saturday's a long hot day, and you want to pace yourself so that you last the whole day, not get kicked out after a couple of hours because you've had too many drinks. So it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. Now, traditionally in previous Ragamuffins, you haven't had a lot of trouble, really, have you?
No, not really. We, as I said, we're there at the entry points. We look after some of the environs around the stadium, deal with anything that may happen inside if security needs a hand with it. Most of the time it's a pretty good event, and it's Saturday's family orientated, so it's not too bad to deal with at all.
Good stuff. Well, we have an awesome 2014. I know we'll catch up again during the year, so thanks for your time, Ed.
Okay, thanks very much.
Well, we've got a bit of an Asian style to our story today because coming up on the 31st of Jan is Chinese New Year. And with me today is Alexis LaGrosse. She's from the Multicultural Council. Thanks for joining us today, Alexis. Now, like I said, a bit of an Asian style to our story because there's actually lots going on. But the main thing we're going to chat about right now is the Chinese New Year coming up on the 31st. So what do you guys got planned?
Ni hao, Alan.
Ni hao.
We're preparing to celebrate the first Chinese New Year here in Rotorua, utilizing the city focus, and also having a banquet at one of the local restaurants. So on Friday, 31st of January, we're celebrating Chinese New Year right here at the City Focus, and this is for public engagement and ultimately is to engage with the whole of the Chinese community. Anyone that wants to be involved can come here, but at the City Focus we're having entertainment. We're also having calligraphy. So if you want to come down, or anyone wants to come down and learn how to write, say, their name in Chinese, we'll have a very old Chinese guy here that will be tutoring calligraphy. And it looks like it's done for 1,000 years. And he's got all the special equipment, special ink, paper, and all that sort. So you don't have to bring your pen. At the same time, we're having, I think one of the banks have been really supportive, ANZ. They support a lot of stuff in the migrant or ethnic communities. They support the Chinese community widely. So they will be here dishing out stuff from the bank. And on Saturday, the 1st of February, we will be celebrating it in a banquet at Chopsticks Restaurant on Amaha Street. The tickets are $20 and for children are $10. And there, everyone will be learning how to make gold. What's those things there? It's written in Chinese wording. Dumplings, dumplings, because gold represents prosperity, good health, and all that sort of good things for the year 2014. And the banquet starts at 7 o'clock. So they're having special name New Year's, Chinese New Year's dishes. Say, for example, they might bring a fish dish out and it'll have a name and a meaning. And they might have a duck dish and it'll have a theme and a name, all that sort of stuff. We have a couple of speeches about New Year's, and we'll have entertainment. That's at Chopsticks Restaurant on Saturday.
Now in the Chinese New Year calendar and all that sort of stuff, they have their different animals they represent each different year. But this year, or 2014, is the year of the horse. Now how significant is that for the Chinese people?
For the Chinese people, two animals are very important to them. It's the horse and the dragon. Firstly the dragon, but because it's the year of the horse, it symbolizes prosperity and competition and surprisingly for me, which is like I've read a lot about it, is this year for Chinese is leadership and determination to be a leader in their community. So globally, there might be change in the Asian community, especially due to Chinese, because this year is the year of leadership. So we might be coming out with a few leaders this year in Rotorua from the Chinese community. So yeah, it's the horse, but astrologically the Chinese New Year is celebrated on February the 4th. But on the lunar calendar it's the 31st.
Now here in Rotorua we've got quite a large Chinese community. How many Chinese immigrants do we have here? Do you know, Alexis?
Just roughly there's probably between 4,000 to 5,000 Chinese living here in Rotorua. And this will be primarily made up of newer migrants that are coming here, younger families to settle, plus students make up a small portion of that too.
Now, just on a personal level for you, as the president of the Multicultural Council here in Rotorua, what will you be doing? Will you be like drifting in and out and meeting people? Or what exactly will you be doing over the weekend?
The great thing is that I have good people supporting and working in the background, and all I do is just advise them what to do and the way we should do things, the way we should decorate the city focus, because the Taipei Cultural Center in Auckland has donated decorations to theme the city focus up a bit to make it look very Chinesey. Red is a good color for prosperity with the Chinese, so this place will probably be nice and red next weekend.
And hopefully no rain. Well, obviously there's going to be lots happening that weekend, so 1st of February, people need to come down here to City Focus.
Yes.
What time should they head down here, Alexis?
Well, everything will kick off at 10 a.m. So come down, say 9:30 to 10, because the place will get pretty full, because this will be the first inaugural Chinese New Year we will celebrate in the CBD.
Oh, and if we get 5,000 Chinese down here, it'll be busy.
If we get 5,000 Chinese, it'll be even better.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Over the weekend of the 12th and 13th of this month, there was the Springfield Golf Open here at the Rotorua Springfield Golf Course, and with me today is the Bay of Plenty Golf Selector, Craig Tiriana. Thanks for joining us today, Craig. Now, obviously, this is a big tournament for the city and for the Springfield Golf Club. How'd it go? Who won? That's the big question, really.
Well, the good things were the locals came out on top. The two from Rotorua and the men's was Langdon Edwards, who plays up at Lakeview. He's actually a greenkeeper up there. He ended up beating his good mate Victor Jannon in the men's competition. And a newcomer to the region by the name of Ji Young Park, she won the ladies. She's also a Lakeview member. She's out here, I believe, from Korea for the summer. So
cool.
It was a good triumph for the locals. Yeah.
So there was 96. Out of that 96, how many people were locals? Was it a good half?
Probably about half. I mean, because Danny Lee, the former golf professional, or who is a golf professional now, but he used to come from here, he helps us hold the tournament. It's really here to try and encourage as many young people as possible. So we do get them from right across the North Island, and the odd one shows up from the South Island, sometimes even from the islands to come and play in it. So yeah, there was a good range from everywhere, but probably about half of them would have been, die-hard, either Springfield, Lakeview, Rotorua or Bay of Plenty golfers.
Yeah. What's the attraction to golf, Craig? Because I've played a couple of times, but it's not really my cup of tea. But there's some people out there that believe that you either play golf or you have a life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things that it gets harder as time goes on because everyone's so time precious, and golf can be a little bit timely, but there are a couple of options where you can just play 9 holes or just play 10 holes, so, it's not too bad. But for some people it's about mastering that one moment, because in a round you might only have one good moment and the rest of it can be quite frustrating on certain days. So, appeals, it might bring out and some people those who are searching for a bit of perfection and a little bit of competition.
Now, you mentioned Danny Lee. Now, he started quite young too. How old was he when he started?
He came here from Korea when he wasn't even 10, and he'd been playing for a couple of years before that. And I mean, he was the world #1 amateur by the time he was 16, playing out of this club. So, and he's now on the professional tour in America, playing with the likes of Tiger Woods and those sort of people, which is pretty amazing, really, considering he was just a knee-high walking around out here.
The same can be said about Lydia Ko as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's on her way somewhere. But she's certainly shaking up the world already.
How about back here in Rotorua? Have we got any young up-and-comer golf players that could take the world by storm?
We've got quite a lot of talent in terms of these young Peter Lee, who's been playing for New Zealand. He's just picked up a professional card. Victor Jannon's just picked up a professional card. They were all Bay of Plenty representatives last year. Wow. And there's quite a few that are coming through either the Rotorua Boys High School and Waiariki Golf Academies, who are all being coached by local coaches. So there's a good nucleus of young players. Probably not as many as there was a couple of years ago, but it's just a bit of a cycle at the moment that we're waiting for a couple more to show up.
So it's obviously the young players that get into it nice and young, nice and early, and then also there's maybe the older business type people, but mums and dads in the middle, not so many?
We're getting more here, like particularly in our club. We're about to launch a junior program in the next month that's specifically aimed at getting more families involved in golf. It's probably seen as, I know in the past, lots of sports were probably seen as babysitting opportunities for mums and dads, so we're trying to get the whole family down to play now and trying to make it a bit more fun. I mean, the game's still the game, and it was deemed as quite expensive in the old days, but we're trying to make it more accessible, and I think that's what a lot of golf clubs are trying to do, just trying to get more people involved. Well, the more that you get involved, the less expensive it is, because it is quite an expensive operation, to put the course out as good as you can, and cut the grass every week costs money with petrol and all that sort of stuff.
So apart from the traditional hit the ball 9 holes or 18 holes, people can actually come down and play different games like, shoot, hit the ball and whoever's closest to the tee, you go from there. Is that
it's called Ambrose, it's a fun one. We just had one.
It tells you how much experience I've got.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like Ambrose appeals to everyone, and that's a good way to get into it. We have a business house Ambrose on a Tuesday night, which is basically aimed at those sort of people who may not have had much chance before, who might be looking at trying to get involved, and we just get them out here in a team and they go out and have some fun. They generally play 9 or 10 holes and then come in and tell some stories about it, but it seems to have been appealing, and it is, like, everyone likes hitting a good golf shot, and the great thing about the Ambrose format is you only have to hit the good ones. So if you don't hit a good one, you can just come pick it up and start again.
Sounds like my sort of game.
Yeah.
Now, apart from the social side and having a bit of fun, if you wanted to get serious about golf, could you come down here to Springfield and get some lessons?
Yeah, you could. They'll arrange that if you just come into the office. There's someone who will sort that out. We have access to a couple of different coaches from time to time. There's also other PGA coaches in town, so there is plenty of opportunity for coaching for people getting in. And Bay of Plenty Golf itself has some regional sort of coordinators who are looking at trying to push golf through schools. So there's plenty of opportunity. I mean, we've got a website, we've got a phone number in the phone book, and we just give us a bell and someone will
Google
sort them out.
Yeah,
that's these days.
That's out of time, Craig. So yourself personally, you get out in the green much these days?
I still try and get out weekly. I don't get out as often as I'd like, but I do enjoy coming out. It's a great way to spend a few hours with your mates, and you can't get in too much trouble out there. So, it's pretty good. You're on your feet for a few hours.
I think I might have to join. All right, Craig, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alan Solomon there, talking with Bay of Plenty Golf selector Craig Terriana. Thanks for having us at your place, and thanks for watching. From all the team here at City News, from RDA.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News was brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers, Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.